Day so far. All right, so for today, we'll be doing our grade 7 English lesson on capitalization. We'll be doing our grade 7 English lesson on capitalization. All right, and before we start with our lesson on capitalization, we are going to log in on aplusstudents.ca. And we are going to log in with our username as well as our password. And then we're going to select the subject of language arts, grade 7. All right, so once we have selected the subject of language arts, grade 7, we are going to scroll down the chapters up until we get to the chapter of capitalization. So it's right down up until we get to capitalization, right? And under the chapter of capitalization, so we're focusing on the chapter of capitalization. And under the chapter of capitalization, we are going to be focusing on the lesson that says correct capitalization errors. So we are going to correct the capitalization errors that we will probably find within our sentences. All right. Okay, so when it comes to capitalization, right, we're going to basically start by saying that when we write sentences, let's start with a sentence, right? Whenever we write a sentence, any sentence, right, it starts with a capital letter. So we capitalize the start of a sentence, right? And then also, what is most important is we need to capitalize names of people and pets. So basically, your name and your surname needs to be capitalized. So the first letter of your name, as well as the first letter of your surname, or the first letter of the name of your pet, needs to be capitalized, right? So we capitalize the names of people as well as pets, right? And an example is Laura, and maybe your pet's name is Sparky, right? So we need to capitalize names of people and we capitalize the names of your pets, right? So we capitalize the names of people as well as pets. And we made an example of maybe your name being Natasha, right? We capitalize the first letter of your name. If your surname is Williams, and then we capitalize the first letter of your surname. And if your dog or cat or whichever pet's name is Sparky or Bruno or something, then we capitalize the first letter also of the name of your pet. All right, so we also capitalize. So, other than capitalizing the names of people, names of pets, right? The start of a sentence, we also need to capitalize a title of respect, right? So, if a title is used with a specific name, or the title is used as a name, right? We capitalize that specific title. So basically, we capitalize a title of respect if it is used with a name or as a name. But we do not, however, we do not capitalize a title of respect if it is used as a common noun. So if it is used as a common noun, then we do not write it with a capital letter. We write it with lower cases. We only capitalize it if a title of respect is used with a name or as a name, right? And a few examples of that is, example, President Nixon, right? So we capitalize the P for president because that is the title, right, of respect. And this is the name of the person. So this is the name of the president. So if we want to also put respect on the title, then we say President Nixon, or President Ramaphosa in South Africa, or President Obama, right? So we capitalize the title of respect, which is the P for president, right? However, we do not capitalize a title of respect if it's used as a common noun. So if we say a president or we say the president, right, then we do not capitalize it, right? Because here we are referring to, or we're making mention of, right? But we are not specifically, we're not specifying, the specific president. We are only saying a president or the president, right? But we're not putting a title to it. Once we put a title to it, for example, President Nixon, President Obama, right? That is when we put the title of respect as a capital and capitalize it. So the P for president and the first letter of the name and its whole name, right? The same with doctor, right? Instead of writing the full word and saying Dr. Chen, we say doctor as a title, DR. So DR meaning doctor. That stands for doctor. So Dr. Chen, right? The doctor is the title of respect. So we need to capitalize doctor. And of course, the name, the first letter of the name of the doctor. However, we do not capitalize the title of respect if it's used as a common noun. So, for example, if you just say the doctor, right? But you are not specifying which doctor or the specific doctor, then it is for use as a form of common noun. So we write that as a in lower cases. So if you say the doctor, a doctor, you're just mentioning randomly the doctor, right? Generalizing the doctor, right? Then we write it in lower cases. But as soon as you specify which doctor, and then we write it with a capital letter. So we capitalize that title of respect, which is doctor, as well as its name. All right. So we also capitalize the title of a family member. That is if it is used with a name or a surname. So if it is used with a name or as a surname, then we capitalize the titles of family members, right? We do not capitalize the titles of family members if it is used as common nouns. So if you maybe mentions, if you just say mommy or Uncle Dave, you're making mention of Uncle Dave, specifying, then we capitalize it. But if you are generalizing it, instead of saying Uncle Dave, but you're saying an uncle, or you're saying my uncle, right? Then we write that in lower cases. So if you, for example, say either my uncle, or you say an uncle, or you even say the uncle, instead of saying Uncle Dave, and then you write it in lower cases because now it is being used as a common noun, not as a proper noun. So we write it in lower cases. But as soon as you specify Uncle Dave, Uncle John, and then we write that in capital letters. If you say mommy, then we write that in capital letter. But as soon as you say my mother, generalizing, or the mother, and then we write that in lower cases because now it is written as a common noun. All right. We also capitalize initials, right? So if you have two names, right? If your name is let's say Natasha, Lisa, Williams, right? So if that is your full name and they say you need to write down your initials and surname, for example, right? And then you are going to say N L Williams, right? So the initials is capitalized, right? So we capitalize the initials. So we also capitalize, basically this is initials and abbreviations, right? So US, right? Because US stands for United States, right? So United States. So we just capitalize it or shorten it for US. So we write it in capital letters. Same with DVD, right? We capitalize it. FBI, capitalize those initials. And then not forgetting, we need to capitalize the names of the months, days of the week, holidays, especially special holidays, right? Especially, and we also need to capitalize words like day and eve. That is if, say, for example, we make mention of a holiday, right? And then we need to also write the word day as well as the word eve with a capital letter. Like, for example, New Year's Eve, right? So we capitalize New Year's as well as Eve. Christmas Day, right? We capitalize it. All right. So, like months, days of the week, holidays, the first letter of that words, whether it's a month of the year, weeks of the days of the week, or holidays, the first letters, it starts with a capital letter. Example, J for January, F for February, M for Monday, T for Tuesday. New Year's Eve. We capitalize it. We capitalize it, right? So remember, we capitalize names of people and pets. Titles of respect, right? If it is used with a name or as a name. But if it's used as a common noun, nope, lower cases, right? We capitalize titles of family members, right? If it is used with a name or as a name, for example, mommy or Uncle Dave, but not if we generalize and say the uncle or an uncle or my uncle. right? We also capitalize initials, right? We capitalize initials, abbreviations, right? Most abbreviations. And we capitalize names of the months, months of the year, days of the week, as well as holidays. So we capitalize it. All right, we're continuing. We also capitalize names of historical events, right? So we capitalize names of historical events. We capitalize the periods as well as we capitalize documents, right? So any historical event, right? Things that is well known within history, we need to capitalize it. And here we have a few examples. Battle of Bunker Hill, Renaissance, Magna Carta. All right, we capitalize it. We also capitalize language. So languages we capitalize, religions, nationalities, right? We capitalize it, and any other proper adjectives we capitalize. Remember, language is important, right? So if you speak English, Arabic, you speak French, right? Afrikaans, then we capitalize your language, right? Because language is important, form of our heritage, right? Our religion, what we stand for, our religious beliefs. So religion, like Hinduism, Christianity, Islam, right? Buddhism, we write that in capital letters. So the start of that word or the first letter of the word, we capitalize. Nationality, if you are from Canada, then you are Canadian. If you are from South Africa, then you're South African. Or if you're from Africa, you are African, right? So our nationality is important. It is who we are and it shows where we are from, right? And we are proud of it. So we need to capitalize it, right? And we also capitalize proper adjectives. Indian food, Chinese food, right? We capitalize where the food is from, right? We also capitalize names of places. This is where the proper nouns comes in. Names of places, names of cities, states, countries, and other political divisions. We capitalize it, right? So if you say I'm from London, London is written with a capital letter. North Dakota, Madison County, Mexico, South Africa, Cape Town, right? We capitalize the names of places, names of cities, states, countries, and other political divisions. We capitalize it. Shows where we are from, right? So, what also goes hand in hand with historical events, right? We also sometimes have historical buildings, right? So places that was built by people, such as buildings, bridges, streets, and monuments, right? We need to capitalize it. Like Linden High School, we need to capitalize it. Golden Gate Bridge, we capitalize it. Washington Monument, we capitalize it, right? So these are all the things that we capitalize. Then we have geographical features that also needs to be capitalized. Bodies of water, mountains, deserts, forests, and continents. We capitalize it. Continents, countries, we capitalize it. The Nile River, Gobi Desert, Antarctica, Europe, Table Mountain, right? We capitalize it. Asia, we capitalize it. Australia, we capitalize it, right? So we need to capitalize quite a few things, right? And we basically call these words or things that we need to capitalize, we call them proper nouns. Once we generalize it, common nouns, that is when we write it with lower cases, right? All right, let's move along. All right. And lastly, we capitalize a direction word. So, direction words such as north, south, east, and west, right? We need to capitalize the direction words. But we only capitalize it if it is used as the name of a particular region, right? We do not capitalize a direction word if it is used as the name of a region. If it's not used as a name of a region. So we only capitalize it if it is used as a name of a region. For example, the Southwest. So Southwest is capitalized. But if you are saying I am driving southwest or I am going southwest or go forward southwest or something or travel southwest, then we write it in lower cases. The north, the south, right? We capitalize. But as soon as we say the northern horizon, the southern horizon, then we write it in lower cases. And remember, we do not capitalize words like the, and we do not capitalize the words of. So if the word the or of is in front of a word that needs capitalization, we still write the words the and of with lower cases. The only time you write the or of with a capital letter, or we capitalize the or of, is when the or of is the first word of a sentence. Right. So that is quite a few either names of people, places, things, names, titles that we need to capitalize, right? Not forgetting capitalizing the first word of the start of the sentence, right? We capitalize it. Proper nouns needs to be capitalized. All right. So now we need to click to correct the two capitalization errors. So within the sentence, it says, in May 1937, Amelia Earhart began her second attempt to fly around the world. So in 1937, Amelia Earhart began her second attempt to fly around the world. So we need to correct the two capitalization errors within the sentence, right? So we're going to correct the first one by writing it in a capital letter. So it's capital M for May, because May is a month of the year, right? And then we are also going to correct attempt, right? Because attempt needs to be in lowercase. So the A is lowercase. So that is the two capitalization errors that we have identified, right? So we already chose, oopsie, May as well as attempt. All right. Alaska was officially proclaimed the 49th state of the United States on January 3. We need to click to correct the two capitalization errors. Alaska was officially proclaimed the 49th state of the United States on January 3. All right. So we have states. So United States. It's capital letter S. And we also put this one. Needs to be small letter state. Right? Because let me do this. This one over here, which is the United States, right? It is basically a name of a place, right? Which we capitalize. But yeah, state is used as a common noun, right? So it is basically saying the 49th state. It is not necessarily specifying the name of the, for example, state. So state and states, one is capitalized and one is lowercase. And there we have our example, right? Which means that United States is the name of a country and the state, right, is Alaska. So state, the word state is just generalized, that small one. All right, we need to correct the two capitalization errors. Edward Murray was a famous American journalist who became a household name during World War II, when a series of radio news broadcasts were followed by millions of listeners. So Edward Murray was a famous American journalist who became a household name during World War II, when a series of radio news broadcasts were followed by millions of listeners. All right, so this is American, needs to be capitalized because it shows his nationality. If he's from America, then he's American, right? So that shows his nationality, and we need to capitalize it, right? We need to capitalize it. Oh, we only did one, sorry. Edward R. Murray was a famous American journalist who became a household name during World War II when a series of radio news broadcasts were followed by millions of listeners, and also news. News is lowercase, right? So we lowercase news. All right. So that was quite a lot of words or a lot of things that we mentioned that needs capitalization, right? And within our three example questions that we just did, right, we were able to identify the capitalization errors by either capitalizing certain words or by, let's say, changing the word from capitalization to lower cases. Because remember, general things, general words, we do not capitalize it. We only capitalize proper nouns or proper nouns, right? Titles, if we specify something. All right, so now we are going to our test where we are going to click or select the correct one capitalization error. So only one capitalization error. So last Wednesday, my boss flew to Europe for a technology conference on parallel programming. So is it last Wednesday, my boss, which is the capital letter B for boss, flew to Europe for a technology conference on parallel program, or last Wednesday, my boss flew to Europe, capitalize Europe, for a technology conference on parallel programming. And if we choose the correct capitalization error, we are going to choose option 2 because we need to capitalize Europe, right? So capitalize Europe. We need to select the two capitalization errors that we have within that sentence. Alaska was officially proclaimed the 49th state of the United States on January 3, 1959. So if we choose the two capitalization errors, is it option 1? Alaska was officially, which is the O for officially, proclaimed the 49th state, which is F for 49th, of the United States on January 3, 1959, or Alaska was officially proclaimed the 49th state, which is lowering the S for state, of the United States in January 3, 1959, which means that United States capitalized. And if we choose the correct capitalization errors, we are going to choose the United States to be capitalized. We need to choose one capitalization error. Edward R. Murray was a famous American journalist who became a household name during World War II when a series of radio news broadcasts were followed by millions of listeners. So without having to reread both sentences, right? In option 1, the capitalization error is either news, that is lowercase, or World War, that is lowercase, followed, which is capital letter, and listeners, which is capital letters. And if we choose the correct one, and then we are going to say Option one, because we are lowering or correcting news, which needs to be lowercase. All right, we need to click and select the two capitalization errors within the sentence. John D. Rockefeller was a famous American businessman and philanthropist who earned his fortune from an oil company he co-founded in Ohio. Is it option one, where we have to change and capitalize American as well as Ohio? Or option two, where we write Rockefeller lowercase, businessman capital letter, earned capital letter, from capital letter. And if we select the correct word, the correct capitalization error, then we capitalize American and we capitalize Ohio. And now we need to click the correct one capitalization error, right? In 1910, the Norwegian explorer Roald Amundsen became the first man to lead a successful expedition to the South Pole. Is it option one, expedition is lowercase? Option two, Norwegian is lowercase. Amundsen is lowercase. Man is capital letter. Successful is capital letter. And if we choose the correct one, then we're going to choose option one, where we write expedition in lower case. All right, so that is basically us correcting the capitalization errors. And we see that there's quite a few capitalization errors that a lot of people make, right? And with capitalization errors, there is quite a few, especially proper nouns, quite a few words, titles, start of a sentence, right? Names of people's pets, surnames, right? That we need to capitalize. Remember that we do not capitalize common nouns, right? If something is written as a common noun, we do not capitalize it at all. All right. And when it comes to capitalization, right, we also have rules when it comes to capitalization. And the first rule is we capitalize the first word of every sentence. So the first word of every sentence, we capitalize it, right? So every time you go to a new line and start a new sentence, we capitalize the start of that sentence. We capitalize the first word of a quoted sentence, even. So if you are writing an essay or quoting or any form of quotation, we capitalize the first word of a quoted sentence. We capitalize the name of people, names of pets, the names of the streets, cities, provinces, states, countries, continents, places, or specific locations, right? Words derived from proper nouns, like, for example, even your directions, north, south, west, east. We capitalize names of books, movies, arts, articles, etc. We always capitalize I. If I stands on its own, right, and not in a word, if the I is on its own, I am going to school, right? We capitalize the pronoun I. We capitalize interjections and exclamations. And we capitalize opening and closings of letters, right? And there we also have a few examples of names of places, people, of things, days of the weeks, months of the year, beginning of a sentence, as well as the pronoun I that we need to capitalize, right? We do not capitalize seasons. So we do not have to capitalize summer, autumn, winter, spring. We don't capitalize that. The words gods or goddesses, like the idols, right? When referring to mythological deities, we do not capitalize it. The word the, we don't capitalize it, right? And proper adjectives used in popular expressions, we do not capitalize. All right, so now, just to end off our lesson, let us go to aplusclasses.ca. So we're going to aplusclasses.ca. And if we go to aplusclasses.ca, right, you get to your homepage, you're going to go to learning materials, and you're going to go to grade 7, sorry. You're going to scroll down to grade 7. And then we're going to click on the practice grammar in this language art workbook. And then you're going to scroll down up until you get to page 43. And page 43 is capitalization 1. All right. So this is our activity in the aplusclasses.ca grammar workbook. And remember, we said that we capitalize the start of every sentence or the first word of every sentence, right? As well as quotations, names of opening letters, names of peoples, surname, places, and so on, right? So we need to underline each letter that should be capitalized, right? So we are going to underline. So I want to learn to ski, said Christy. So I'm taking skiing lessons after school. If we underline the letter that should be capitalized, it is I, which is also the start of the sentence as well as start of a word that is quotations, as well as so. Wolfgang Mozart wrote some symphonies for full orchestra, explained Miss Beale. He also wrote concertos for small groups of instruments. So Wolfgang, W for capitalize, Mozart capitalize, right? Miss Beale capitalized, he capitalized. And last one, General Eisenhower was elected president in 1952. So G for general and E for Eisenhower, right? Who was elected president in 1953. So what you can do is, for homework, maybe you can continue. You can continue on page 43 as well as page 44 in our A plus classes activities, right? And complete the rest of the sentences where we underline each letter that use or that should be capitalized, as well as the capitalizing correctly on page 43 and page 44. All right, so grade sevens, that is now the end of our lesson on capitalization, right? Remember, we capitalize proper nouns, names of people, places, pets, right? Titles of respect, directions, right? Which is like your north, south, east, west, not if you say the northern, right? Start of a sentence. We capitalize when we are quoting something, right? Names of books, right? So we capitalize those, right? So thank you very much for joining our class. This is the end of our chapter or our lesson on capitalization. Until next time, you should have an amazing evening further. Goodbye.